That's it. This is your daily cricket podcast. You got news, you got views, and you got everything happening in the world of cricket. And we got the superstar here who doesn't look the freshest at this time of the morning, but we'll be coming to you every day of the World Cup. There's 45 matches. 2 are already been done. Brad Haddin, it's great to see your smiling face. We're going to do this every morning. Just talk cricket, World Cup, etc. Great, man.
It doesn't get much better than this, does it, Howie? Mate, I should look a bit under the weather here. There's a big weekend in horse racing this weekend, so I should be a little bit under the weather, Howie. You
didn't own a share of the Everest winner, did you?
Oh no, what about that? Everyone thought Nature Strip was a lay down there, but what a race that was. It was a great day here in Sydney. Not that a lot of people remember a lot of it, but it was a great day.
No, that's it now, mate. The World Cup, as I said, 45 matches, 2 are done, and let's get stuck straight into it. Now, I am lucky, Hads, to have visited Namibia 4 or 5 times, spent a lot of time in the national parks there. If you ever want to go anywhere, go to Namibia, probably my second best country in the world. And last night, oh boy, in the afternoon, they sorted out one of the biggest upsets. Extraordinary stuff. Sri Lanka were all over them early. I think they were 3 for 35. And then Namibia, the Windhoek Flyers came from nowhere, Hadji. And that's the thing about the World Cup. You just don't know what you're going to get.
And that's the thing about this form of the game too, Harry. 2020 brings upset, and this is huge. Sri Lanka, they just recently come off some unbelievable 2020 form, winning the Asia Cup. So they've come in here with red-hot form. I like the way they do this qualifying stage too, because it does breed results like that. But I'll throw something at you, Howie. It's not that big of upset. We're looking at Namibia. They made the Super 12 last World Cup. They defeated Ireland to go through. They won one game in the Super 12 stage. So I tell you what, they're a country on the rise.
I still reckon she's a fair upset. The Sri Lankans are pretty handy. As you said, they just dominated the World Cup. I'm not sure the Sri Lankans were used to the conditions in Geelong. How good did Geelong look last night? My part of the world as well. All lit up. They were fantastic, though. Biggest performance ever by Sri Lanka, by Namibia previously. Frankie Fredericks, the great Olympic sprinter, with a silver medal. So they are partying in, no doubt, in Namibia. And I'm sure those stories will come out that this bloke does this for a job, and this guy, he's a plumber, and this bloke works in the local bakery. So well done to them. And also, the Dutch getting the job done took 19.5 deliveries to get it done. The UAE 118. The UAE 8 for 111, the Netherlands 7 for 112, and I've got a new cult figure for us to follow during the World Cup already, Hats.
Who you got for us, Howie?
His name is Timmy Pringle. He took 1 for 13, and he made 15. He's got the glasses. He was diving all around the field. I tried to do a bit of research on him, and the first thing that comes up in Google when you type in Tim Pringle is wedding singer, but it's a completely different bloke. It's a different bloke. But I like the work of Timmy Pringle. You would have noticed him. You hold some handy off spin.
Yeah, I think that, and that's the beauty. Well, he'd be definitely singing last night with their performance. Netherlands have always been a team that had performed quite well in World Cups, above expectation. I remember Ryan Tendescada. He scored a couple of hundreds for Netherlands in World Cups, but this is the beauty. You've got guys that they might be a wedding singer, a plumber, but they get their opportunity on the big stage. And what I like most about it is the excitement. You have a jam-packed schedule in international cricket, but when you see teams like the Netherlands and UAE, this is their moment. Mate, they're working in banks. They come out here, get the opportunity to play on beautiful grounds in Australia, enjoy our hospitality here, but they play with so much passion and flair, and you just can't help but be drawn to the TV watching them.
Yeah, well, it's going to, obviously it's going to cause some real dramas in that group now, because you immediately expected Sri Lanka to get through, but they'll be under the pump now. Still, you would expect them to get through, but they will have woken up this morning. Sri Lanka, passionate cricket country, the headlines will all over there be very, very negative, so they're going to have some serious work ahead of them, and they're the first team that's under the pump in the World Cup already, just a game in.
Yeah, they are. But they started the Asian Cup in similar fashion. That they lost their first couple of games there, so they're used to this pressure. We know they play an exciting brand of cricket, but now this will have to switch them on. You can't relax in any of these games now, and I think after the disappointment, the loss to Namibia, they'll come out, they'll switch things on, and we'll see a really attacking brand of cricket. I think they were just got a little bit complacent, let the little things just leaving it up to everyone else. But now they'll come together as a team, and I still think they'll qualify, but it does make it interesting.
All right, Hads, we're going to come up next and talk Great Cricket World Cup upsets. I tell you what, the Dutch beat England at one stage, but there is a bigger upset than that, great man, that we're going to have to talk about forensically, all right?
I think I know where you're going here, Howie.
It might not be positive for you, great man. You're listening to Willow Talk. You are listening to Willow Talk, all the news, views, cricket, etc. We will be here every morning of the World Cup, so you can listen to us on the way to work, on the way home. We're going to preview the games coming up. Hads is going to tell you who's going to win. But before that, we mentioned that Namibia got the job done in an extraordinary upset over Sri Lanka. So what we wanted to do was talk about the biggest World Cup upset of all time, and it involved a team called Zimbabwe and a team called Australia. So the quick scoreboard: Gilchrist 4, Hayden 4, Ponting 9. No one really got going. Australia made 138. And coming in at number 7, Brad Haddin caught Chimbura, bowled Ulsatia for 6. But still, we thought 138 was enough. And then the Zimbabweans just came out and did it easy, 5 for 139. My man, Brendan Taylor, smashed 60 off 45. Hadsy, this was a dark day for Australian cricket.
Howie, I've got a different take on this.
You tried to tell me in the first segment you expected Namibia to pretty much win the World Cup. I'm going to be interested on your spin here.
I just think the cricket world should be thanking Australia at this event. In 2007, it was the first International Cricket World Cup. And we had to let India win. We had to make sure India got through to the final, because look what's happened after that. IPL's developed, players are making millions around the world. Matthew Hayden was still the leading run scorer, so we had a little bit of success, but we probably didn't take 2020 as seriously as everyone should. And I think, and in this form of the game, anyone can beat anyone on any day, and Taylor was too good for us. And it sort of gave us a wake-up call of how big this beast was going to be in the 2020 format. So I think the other nations should be thanking us, because IPL started off the back of India winning this tournament. So it was a really tactical move from Australia there, Howie. So that's all I can say on that moment.
I got a question for you. What did RT Ponting say when you got into the sheds at the end of the game and the pride of Zimbabwe was celebrating next door and you blokes were just looking at each other?
Well, the one person we weren't making eye contact was with Ponting. Because no matter if you're having breakfast, you're playing a game of touch, kicking the footy, he wants to win and be first. So it was tough to look at Ricky Ponting then. He had some choice words for everyone. But it was not a lot of eye contact being made, because when the great man Ricky Ponting speaks, and if you've lost a game that you should have won for Australia, it's not a pleasant place to be. But as I said at the start, it was a very tactical move from Australia to allow India to win that tournament.
I once saw the airport security remove a can of deodorant out of his carry-on luggage, and the look he gave, oh mate, I didn't say anything, but the look he gave you, I thought, geez, you would not want to be on the wrong end of that. Now, Paddy Cummins had some interesting things to say about the Australian one-day international captaincy due to the fact there's so much cricket being played. This is Pat Cummins yesterday.
I think just playing every single game, it isn't realistic. Yeah, we've got some great leaders in the team. We all get along great. I think the style of just about everyone in the team is really similar. So I think it'd be really seamless if you had a kind of committee.
Captaincy by committee, Hads. I can understand it due to the nature of cricket and the amount of cricket being played that you might not get the consistent captain to be there day in, day out. It's certainly thinking outside the square. I'd be interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, Paddy. Howie, I don't like it. I think it is realistic that we want our captain in the white ball playing every game. And I think why it's been so successful for a long time, yes, we've seen Paddy captain the test team, and I think he's doing a wonderful job. I think he's a great leader, but he's also played less than 50% of the white ball games over the last few years. So from where I sit there, I think we do need someone to captain the white ball full time. I don't think you can captain by committee. I think there's enough leaders out there to demand that position. And on the flip side, we need to start creating more leaders anyway. We need to start to find some different leaders and different captains. And I think one of the reasons David Warner's ban's been looked to be overturned is we have a lack of leaders to captain the team. So I think it's a great opportunity to find someone, give them this one-day team, stamp their authority on it, on what they want it to look like leading into this World Cup. So I think it is realistic that we have a captain that plays all the games in that format.
Well, I think leading into the next year, so there's a 50-over World Cup next year in October in India. So I think it needs to be someone give the chance to mould the team before then. Australia plays 3 one-day internationals versus England straight after this T20 World Cup. So who's your captain? So okay, we need someone to lead us to the World Cup. Who's your captain?
I think there's 2 names that come to mind, and that's Smith and David Warner. I think that we've spoken a lot about how Davey's grown over time as a leader, and he's been outstanding. Whether he's got the captaincy or vice captaincy name against him, I think he'll tactically do an unbelievable job in India. And I think Steve Smith's the other one. He came back to captain last year in the pink ball test match for Australia, and I remember him walking out to Adelaide. He got enormous applause from the crowd, and he was tactically really good. Does he want that pressure anymore? I don't know. That's a question only he can answer, but those 2 guys come to mind. Paddy Cummins could also do the World Cup. It's a shorter time now. We've got less than 12 months to that event, so someone like Paddy Cummins could do it. But on the flip side with that, at the back end of that tournament, you might not play 3 fast bowlers because of the wickets.
Yeah. So
then all of a sudden a conversation around which fast bowler do you leave out? You can't leave Stark out. Hazelwood's our number 1 bowler in the world in this form of the game. So they're the 3 names that I'd throw up, but I'd look at Smith and Warner if I'm honest.
Yeah, are you comfortable with David Warner taking over leadership positions? I am completely. I think he's done his time, and you can only punish a bloke for so long. That's the immediate one that pops into my head, Dave Warner as captain of that team.
Well, I think what we've seen over David, David's grown enormously as a person and a leader. And I think the captain by committee, I would just leave Dave Warner as he is at the moment, leading in the way he does. But I think if you're looking at a tactical captain for this World Cup, I think David Warner's your man. He's tactically outstanding in India. He's won titles with IPL, and he's done his time. He's shown he's grown a lot. He's matured a lot into the role and been an Australian cricketer. So I agree with you there, Harry. I think David Warner could captain this World Cup.
All right, quick break here, Hads. Then we are going to have a look at the 2 games from today. And Hads, you're going to tell us who's going to win. And we're going to start our little tipping comp as well. You are listening to Willow Talk, where we talk nothing but cricket. You are listening to Willow Talk. Mark Howard and Brad Haddin with you. Matches 3 and 4 of the T20 World Cup is what we're going to look at now, Hads. I'm going to give you some stats, and then I want you to tell me how you think this is going to play out. Ireland take on Zimbabwe. Ireland have lost 12 of their 20 this year and lost 8 in a row at one point. Zimbabwe are going pretty well. They won the qualifiers overall. They defeated Holland. They've played each other in the World Cup 8 times. Ireland lead at 5-3. This one is at Hobart at 7 p.m. tonight. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Zimbabwe. I think Zimbabwe's preparation has been really smart. That they come out to Australia, they've played a couple of one-days against the Aussies, and what I've seen in that tournament is they gradually got better and better and used to the conditions. I think guys like Razar, who didn't have a great time with the bat against Australia just because of the quality we have, I think Ireland's attack will suit him, and I think he'll be a big stay in this team. Ryan Burl, I like him. He's a big left-hander, doesn't like to run much between the wickets, but he's a wicket taker with the ball. He's a leg spinner, and I think he can play a big role against Ireland in the middle overs. Ireland, though, Howie, got some players that I'm really interested in, to be honest. We talk a lot about Tim David taking his opportunity around the world, and I love stories like this. And Josh Little's a similar one. He went to Chennai as a net bowler, got experience over there. He played a huge role in the 100 this year with Manchester with the ball, and they made the final. So he's taken his opportunity, looked to develop his skill all around the world, and this is a great opportunity to show everyone. IPL contracts can come off the back of this. And the big one for me, Howie, and you'll love this, man, is Sterlo.
Yeah. Oh, Sterlo!
He doesn't like to run. He's got a great numbers in the power play when there's only 2 out, but everything comes off the back of him. If he goes off, mate, he'd be a great person to bat with. You wouldn't have to worry about quick singles. You could pop it down to third man, walk through, because he doesn't like twos, he doesn't like threes, he just likes dealing in boundaries, so he'll play a big role too. But I'm going Zimbabwe.
He's not as big as the big man from Bermuda, the man that took that catch at first slip, is he? Back in the day.
Leatherrock.
Yes, Dwayne Leatherrock. My only concern, Hads, is that Zimbabwe struggle against the leggies a bit, so Gareth Delaney might get himself involved, but I'm with you. I think we're both tipping Zimbabwe in that one, yes?
Yep, Zimbabwe.
Okay, and then the West Indies, 2-time winners. 18-16 in this tournament. Scotland are 3-10. So this is the early game in Hobart. The Windies obviously won in 2012 and 2016 with Carlos Brathwaite, remember the name, but they've had 6 different openers in the last 23 matches, so they're not having consistency at the top of the order. They take on Scotland, who have only played 2 matches since the last World Cup, so I don't know who's in charge of Scottish cricket, but they haven't been playing enough cricket, Hads, from what I can see.
Yeah, just the World Cup's just snuck up on Scotland, Howie.
Well, it can't sneak up. You know when it's going to be. In fact, it was delayed a whole year, Had, so I don't know how it's snuck up on the Scottish.
100%. And this is the one thing, the West Indies. We've seen some signs against Australia that they're going to be all-out attack. They'll be a team that at some stage will get bowled out for 70, but they also might be a team that scores 230. So I think West Indies will enjoy this Scotland team. I actually reckon that they will dominate them. But the one thing I'm looking forward to this, he got us at the front of our seats in the commentary box, was Joseph. He bowls around 150 Ks. He's aggressive. And I think pace would be too much for Scotland there. You got guys like the experienced Jason Holder, Rowan Powell. He did well in the CPL. He captained the team to victory there. And I think they'll just match up too good against his Scotland team that, you know what, we've got no form gauge because they haven't played any cricket. So West Indies for me, easy. Okay,
I'm the same. So we're both tipping Zimbabwe. We are both tipping the West Indies. Enjoy the matches today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, Hads. So you'll be on your drive to work. You'll be able to listen to us throughout the entire World Cup. Well done, Big Daddy. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
See you, Howie. Keep it real.
Peace.